Hey guys, so we're walking in the streets in Kigali and it's safe and clean, even in the middle of the night.
Yeah, every time Kigali is a safe and clean.
Is there a chance that we can get robbed?
Yeah?
Can we get robbed and can people steal our cell phones?
No.
No.
Yeah.
The country of Rwanda. Is it just hype or is it actually as clean and polite and nice as people say that it is? I just came back from Rwanda right now, and in this video, guys, I will be giving you an honest, uncut review of life in Rwanda and my experience getting there and getting out of Rwanda. greyBTC, guys, Rwanda vlog, and just want to give you guys an overview what Rwanda is like, at least in my experience. This is my 4th day over here. I'm sitting right now I'm staying at the Radisson Blu, one of the best hotels in Rwanda, actually one of the best hotels in Africa. This place is special. It's a convention center. You can see it behind me. It's the popular dome that you see it in a lot of video clips in Rwanda. So I got here 4 days ago at night. I flew from Lusaka into Rwanda. It takes about an hour and a half or so, and even from the moment you arrive at the airport, you feel the difference, man. It's clean, the people are much friendly, and the workforce is very professional. Even the government employees, like, they know what they're doing. My name is greyBTC and you're watching my YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe to this channel. For every single subscriber I get, I do a single push-up. For every like that I get, I do a pull-up. So each one of you can get me healthier by simply subscribing and liking this video. All right, let's get into it. There are so many direct flights between Rwanda and Zambia, so it was pretty easy, and it was about 1 hour and a half getting into Rwanda. And I took Rwanda Air, which is a national airline for the country of Rwanda. Immediately, I left Lusaka, and in no time, I was on the land of Kigali, Rwanda. Got off the plane, had to go through immigration and all that. The immigration in Rwanda, they gave me a difficult time. So I have to say that the initial arrival wasn't really necessarily the politest. I mean, they scrutinized me too much. I mean, I don't need a visa to get into Rwanda based on my passport. Most African passports do not need a visa in Rwanda. You get visa on arrival. But they over-scrutinized me, asking what I'm doing, when am I gonna leave, and all these other stupid questions. But this happens to me as an African traveling pretty much everywhere, even worse in Africa of all places. So I'm kind of used to it. So they invited the gentleman to scrutinize me, and once they figured out that I have a visa in Dubai, a resident, and I'm a resident in Dubai, that's when they just left me. They're like, oh, you're a Dubai resident? I'm like, yeah, I'm a Dubai resident. They're like, okay, go. So I'm like, look, I came here to enjoy, but then you're giving me a difficult time because of an African passport. I didn't like that part, but again, like I said, this is typical for African immigration officers. They don't travel themselves, so they don't understand it with another African person is traveling just for leisure. They don't get it. Anyway, after I went through the immigration, the next stage was to take a COVID test. Yes, when you arrive in Rwanda at the moment, they actually have laboratories set up to get you to test for COVID. So they do the whole throat and nose swab to test you for COVID. You don't wait for the results, they let you go. But just in case, if you're found COVID positive, they can track you down and put you in isolation or something like that. So that was for me, but I appreciated that they know what they're doing. And after that, they let me go. I entered into Rwanda, Kigali. From the airport, really professional. There's an organized taxi service with the taxi branding and everything. The drivers are dressed up as taxi drivers, so you wouldn't be confused on who is the driver and who isn't. And one thing that stood out for me for Rwanda is that if you arrive to so many African airports, there are always all these taxi drivers walking close to you, telling you, oh, you want a taxi, trying to get business from you. In Rwanda, it's very organized. They have a queue, and you just go to wherever the first car is supposed to go. So, it just makes the entire process a little bit more pleasing. So I got a driver, drove me into Kigali. I stayed at a hotel called 4 Points in the middle of Kigali, pretty close to the downtown a little bit, but also close to so many other nice places. Very quiet, very clean, The roads are nice. I had myself some dinner because I arrived there in the middle of the night. And then that was my first night. Now, let's talk about accommodation in Rwanda. So when I was doing my research before I go there, I saw that the accommodation varies from, you can find a place to stay from as little as $20 on Airbnb, or some lodges in between $20 to $50, the small places. But you can also find hotels, 3 to 5 star hotels. You're looking at a minimum of $100 all the way to the higher hundreds of dollars per day. It just depends what your budget is. The hotel that I stayed in for the first night, it's called 4 Points. It's one of the nice hotels there. I paid maybe roughly about $180. Hey, what's up guys? Still in Kigali at the Radisson Blu Business Lounge, and it's amazing. Just check out the background here. You can see the hills. Ooh, so beautiful. Is at a convention center, one of the largest and one of the most well-known places in Kigali. It's like a business center, basically. It's beautiful, close to a lot of restaurants, also in a very nice area, highly secure, and it's quiet. So there are also other hotels that I visited. I didn't have the time to check out some Airbnbs, but wherever you're coming from, you will find good accommodation, 5-star top level accommodation in Kigali in Rwanda that you will not feel out of place. All the foods, the type of service you're used to, you'll be able to find it there. Now, let's talk about the life in Rwanda, the social fabric. This is what you're going to identify when you spend, let's say, 2-3 days in Rwanda. And for me, it started immediately from the airport. Rwanda is just recovering from the 1994 genocide that happened there. Hey guys, I'm now at Kigali Genocide Memorial to learn a lot of history about Rwanda. Let me show you. This is the memorial area. And as you guys may know, that Rwanda is so hilly, so many hills. So you can see the entire city from here. This is a very, very historic place. Everybody knows about it. There's the movie Hotel Rwanda that you guys may know. But the driver from the airport, he was telling me a little bit more about Rwanda, and somehow, the genocide story came in because, like I said, it's a fresh wound for the country. Regardless of how much progress they have made, this is still, you still feel the presence of it, because the reason is this. The people who are in the mid-20s or late 20s, or people who are even older, actually suffered the direct effects of the genocide. Some of them were actually alive. Some of them, their families were lost during the genocide and they were displaced, and they had to run to go to other countries, to the neighboring countries, the Congo, Uganda, and others, and Burundi. And then you find that everybody has some kind of story related to the neighboring countries. Maybe their parents went out to stay there and they came back, and it's things like that. And also there is one of the things that you should do when you get there is to go and visit the Genocide Museum. It's an incredible experience that puts you on the ground, and they tell these stories about what happened. It's an audio and visual and live experience that you go through. You get to see a lot of the scars, the bones of people who died during the genocide. So the genocide is a very sensitive topic, but also it's a relevant part of the Rwandan story, because one thing you're going to identify is that Rwanda is very different from other African countries. It's developed in its culture. So this is your average street in Rwanda. You literally see no litter. It's just perfectly clean. The people are very civilized, the way they conduct themselves. Like I said, even at work, it's very professional and it's very clean. It's true that Rwanda is one of the cleanest countries in the world. It's even cleaner than London, Paris, and all these, and New York, I would say. So, you have to put that in mind, that for a country that is so young, they were fighting in 1994, and now it has made all this progress. And another thing you're going to identify in Rwandan culture is how women are empowered. You can go anywhere, any type of job. So I did some business meetings there and also just some casual meetings. You will find that most women in Rwanda are professionals. In any professional, you can go security, private security, police, hotel staff, government staff, CEO of companies. and you see a lot of women involved in the day-to-day running of the economy, which is very rare, especially in African countries, in my experience. So I was so amazed and quite impressed that, that Rwanda is basically, I would say, a very good example of what even the West is trying to be. Like, hey, let's get more women in the economy, or like the economy or the jobs are so patriarchal, or the system is very patriarchal. In Rwanda, it's a lot different. I was very surprised, I ain't gonna lie. And another thing you identify in Rwanda as far as the social fabric is the security. So you can walk anywhere within Kigali, at least the places that I've been to. Even when I was driving from the airport at night, I saw a bunch of people just walking there casually, because the city streets are lit, really good roads, and you've got lights, everything, and people are walking any time of the night, driving or riding bikes, and you wouldn't even be concerned about using your cell phone. If you have been in South Africa or in Brazil, you know this thing where people say, oh, don't use your phone when you're outside, whatever, you're going to get robbed. Like in Rwanda, nobody even warns you about that, because it's really a safe city. There's a police there and there, but it's not even a police state, because I drove for so many days, I wasn't stopped once by the police. Takes me to my next point, driving and roads infrastructure. So it can be challenging for you to drive in Rwanda if you have never been driving in that kind of environment before. It's kind of India style, so many bikes. So the roads are really nice and clean, but you have so many borders or motorbikes. That is another, I think it's kind of the primary form of transport, because I saw a lot of people use them every day. The difference between these though is that I think when I made a video about Uganda, you guys can watch it, I complained about how these bike riders drive. They're so unorganized and they don't respect the rules of the road. So I'm out here waiting for the bikes, for the borders to stop passing so that I can cross the road. But guess what? They never stop. One thing about Rwanda, the law is the law. Everybody respects the rules of the road. So driving is 60 kilometers an hour maximum. There are cameras everywhere making sure that if you're driving faster than that, you get fines. And they have a very integrated system that is able to fine you effectively. So even the border bike guys, they follow the rules of the road. However, they drive left and right of your side. So you always have to be alert that if you make a quick turn without checking, you can end up getting someone in an accident. So that was an interesting thing. But otherwise, roads are nice. You can drive there. Lots of car rentals. You can get all sorts of cars. You might not be able to get the extreme luxury cars, but I don't think there's a huge car culture in Rwanda anyway. But you can find the 4x4s or the NASCARs that you can drive and go for a safari or whatever you want, or just driving within the city. And as you guys know, my trip is all about exploring business opportunities in Africa. So let's talk business. Rwanda is nice it's one of the best countries that I've seen so far when it comes to business. Hey guys, I'm now at Northkin. This is an entrepreneurial hub for Rwanda in Kigali. In fact, just next door they're expanding. They're building the largest Africa's hub for entrepreneurs. So this is going to be exciting. I'll tell you a little bit more about this place because it's really special. But it's an incredible place to see, especially for you digital nomads out there. You're looking for a place to go. I think this is a perfect spot that you should consider. So if you travel into Rwanda, you're able to get a bank account with your tourist visa. It will take you literally 2 hours to go to the bank. That is a big difference because all these other countries, they give you a tough time on a tourist visa to get a bank account. So I was like, uh-oh, that's something. And then you also have mobile money. A lot of people use Momo in Kigali in the city. It's basically, I would say most people use that more than cash from what I could see. So you can get that done with your passport. You just need a passport to do KYC, and you got your account that you can use to spend and receive money on. And also when it comes to business, now you can register a business in Rwanda for almost no cost. You can do it yourself online. It takes about 6 hours for the entire process to get completed. And you can take the business certificate and go create a bank account from it. You don't need to be a resident or to have a residence visa for you to be able to do that. So this to me was different because most countries are very irky about, oh, where's your residence or your permit to do this? Rwanda is open for business. And then there's the startup culture that is booming. They're currently building the largest entrepreneurial hub in Africa. There's one already, they call it Nosken, that I had the time to also visit from there for about a day. And they're now expanding it, which allows a lot of small businesses, especially tech startups, to basically go into Rwanda, establish themselves there, and grow as small companies. Right now, I saw so many entrepreneurs from West Africa and so many other African countries.
And I'm the superstar ambassador for P1 Group.
P1 Group.
Yeah, the first real estate network marketing company in the whole world.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you going to recruit me?
Yes, I'm already your man.
Even Russians in Rwanda that are setting up there. All right, guys. So this is my last day on this trip in Kigali. I worked at Nosken the entire day. Fantastic place. Good coffee. It's actually, if you're a coffee person, this is one of the very few places that you can get good coffee. So check it out. And while I was there, I heard that the government is working for a startup act. That is going to be a set of rules and regulations to help accelerate the growth of startups in Rwanda. So this will mean benefits on taxes and other benefits that the government would be able to give you for you to go into Rwanda and build and sustain yourself. Because the traditional taxes in Rwanda are so big and they were not really startup friendly. So now they're changing all that, making it open for startup, which means people like you or myself, if you're a digital nomad and entrepreneur, Rwanda is one of those places that you want to go, set up your little company there, whether it's an e-commerce business or whatever, and then you're ready to go and start making yourself some money. And you take advantage of the startup ecosystem that's there. You can get funded because they are connected with the United States, Silicon Valley VC money, and also so many other organizations that are pushing for Rwanda to go big. As an entrepreneur, I couldn't help notice how cheap life is in Rwanda when it comes to cost of living. That also makes the wages in Rwanda relatively low. So, I mean, people earn from $200 all the way to like, the average medium on the low end is like $200 to $800, even junior developers and other small jobs, right? And then for people who earn $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 and more dollars, those jobs are actually considered premium. So if you want trying to build, you're trying to build a small company or a small business and you can do it from Rwanda, I think it's an incredible position to do it. You can take advantage of the cost of living there and the labor market to basically save money on your business and bring more business into Rwanda. Now, let's talk about the things to do in Rwanda, in Kigali specifically. I have to keep saying Kigali because Rwanda is a big country. Well, it's small, but I spent my time in Kigali anyway. So you have all sorts of things. You have nice restaurants that you can always visit. Okay, guys, so I'm still at Cultura or Culture, whatever it is, having some Asian food and this fire. If you're gonna be in Kigali, you have to try this restaurant, man. And everything else that you might want to do as far as wildlife is actually less than 5 hours from Kigali, the city. So 2 hours out of Rwanda, you already have places that you can go to visit the wildlife side of Rwanda. If you want to see the animals, and I think there's also the lake there, Lake Kivu is somewhere. You can drive a couple of hours out of Kigali. I didn't have the time personally because I also had to handle business. I didn't have the time to visit the remote areas. I also didn't have the time to go see the silverback gorillas. The silverback gorillas are what attracts a lot of Europeans apparently to get into Rwanda. I didn't have the time to do it, but next time I'm there, I'll go and see it. But in the city of Kigali, I had time to see a couple of restaurants. I attended a meetup, a startup meetup. I also went to a club once to check it out. I went to some bars to actually get to feel the social fabric, the social environment. It's very buzzy. One thing you might notice is that language is quite a challenge in Rwanda when it comes to not many people speak that good English. You will notice when you get there. And there's a historical reason for that. It's because they used to be colonized by the French. And then after the genocide, the French were kicked out and they embraced English and Swahili and Kinyarwanda as the languages that they focus on. So in schools now, in the public schools, no more French, there's English and Swahili and Kinyarwanda. So a lot of people do speak Kinyarwanda and Swahili. Some, especially older people, might speak French because that's what they used to learn back in the day. But then there's this disconnect because some people are speaking French, others towards English, and there was a genocide which kind of destroyed there was a period of time of disruption that most people maybe didn't get the education timely to learn English. And so you'll find that most people kind of struggle to speak good English, but you might find that they speak French if they don't speak English. So it's something that you might just get used to it when you're roaming around the circles of Rwanda. Another thing actually, but on the flip side, Rwandans are really accommodating. Like, you know, you will never feel intimidated. They're really polite, helpful. They want to help you. And if you're into dark-skinned women, Rwanda, I think, is the best. You know, one of the best places you could go. The women there, they know how to take care of themselves, and they know they're pretty, and they like their natural hair. So you would struggle to find maybe someone with some Brazilian hair or something like that. Most of them like to keep their hair naturally, and they know how to take care of it, which I find really cool. So if you're into dark-skinned African women, definitely visit Rwanda. It's something that you might find interesting when you get, or you cannot help but notice their features and all that. It's really cool. Besides the restaurants and all the normal activities you could do, Rwanda is quite big on basketball. They have an incredible, a massive basketball stadium, and the basketball ecosystem is quite booming there. I didn't have the time to explore it myself because I'm not really into basketball, but I do know a lot of Americans that I met there who were there for some basketball activities, and it seems like a lot of Rwandans actually follow what's happening. It might be the reason that there is a huge population of tall people in Rwanda, therefore they had to embrace basketball. I don't know what causes it. So while I was in Rwanda, I kept asking myself, what is it that makes this country work? Because if you compare Rwanda to all other African countries, like even other countries that are seemingly bigger and much more established economies like South Africa, or they have a higher GDP, they're still different, or they're basically behind Rwanda for a lot of reasons. Like I say, Rwanda, you have no load shedding. Lights are there working all the time. You've got now good internet infrastructure. I traveled with my Starlink there. I was able to connect it and also get it working. What I noticed was the leadership in Rwanda is next level. I think even the younger generation are learning what leadership really means. Like Paul Kagame, their president there, have done an incredible job of marketing. He's a good marketer because most of the time he's actually dressed in local outfit. That it inspired me when I went to Rwanda in Kigali. I visited one of the local designers there who sometimes the president actually wears his items. Yeah? How much is this?
It's $1,300.
Okay. So I visited that shop. I managed to buy myself a few clothes to just support the local designer ecosystem. So this is like a wedding outfit, or what were you wearing?
Big ceremonies, but most also weddings. But for the big ceremonies.
But you realize that in Rwanda, the government is serious about actually developing the country. The governance is taken seriously to the point that sometimes the government is more efficient than the private sector. I had never seen that before, especially in Africa. So that is quite impressive. And I think for most African people going there, what I could identify was that if you're in Rwanda, it changes the perspective. It gives you more confidence as an African person, because usually you travel all these countries, all the economies are fucked. It just makes it seem like there's no functional African country at all. So Rwanda is a different case that will give you a different perspective, and maybe it will inspire you to be more optimistic about the future of the continent, that maybe some of these countries will get fixed if they get the right leaders in place. So to me, that was the biggest lesson. Like, hey man, there is this country, a small country somewhere in Africa that has gone through a lot, the country called Rwanda, but now it has managed to to crawl and dust itself off and started walking with its head high, and it's basically making it, right? Becoming one of the most impressive supermodels of nation states in the world, not only in Africa at this point. So is Rwanda just hype, or is it actually real? Rwanda is a real deal, and I recommend that you guys go visit, check it out by yourself, and let me know what you think. To me, my experience was superb, and I'm definitely going to be spending a lot more time in Rwanda. Just like any other country that I go to, if I like it, I make it my home for some time. because why not? We live in an economy and time where we can live in so many different places. And if you work online, you can make your income online. You can basically live anywhere, anytime. So why not go where the weather and the people are good? And Rwanda is exactly there. So for those of you who are wondering how I'm able to travel and make money and things like that, I have another channel called Crypto Hustle. I'm a trader. I trade cryptocurrencies and I'm able to make money from anywhere in the world. There's a specific YouTube channel for that, so you can go check it out. It has more than 200,000 subscribers already. And I also make some content on that aspect on my Instagram, on TikTok, and some other social media platforms, Twitter as well. So remember to subscribe and like the video. What do you think about Rwanda and when are you going there? If you want to travel using Airbnb, I have a link in the description below that if you sign up with my link, Airbnb will give you startup credit. You'll be able to start booking your next accommodation on Airbnb for free. So you do that now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Namaste.